The inheritance scheme. Sometimes I wonder if I would have done things differently if I'd known how much Anthony had learned about spotting liars from his divorce lawyer friends. I'm Shelby, 31, and 2 months ago I thought I had the perfect setup. Anthony and I had been together 4 years engaged for 6 months with our wedding planned for early spring. He's this methodical guy who works in project management, the type who color codes his calendar and actually reads the terms and conditions on everything. Most of the time, his obsessive attention to detail drove me crazy, but it also made him incredibly predictable, which turned out to be useful. We'd been living in his condo for 2 years. He owned it outright, had his investment portfolio organized in neat little spreadsheets, and genuinely believed in our shared future. The way he'd talk about our life together, mapping out 5-year plans and retirement savings goals, I could see he really thought we were some kind of team, which is why when his grandfather passed and left him $500,000, he told me about it immediately. Babe, this changes everything for us," he said, pulling up his bank account on his laptop like he was showing me vacation photos. "We can pay off the wedding, maybe put a down payment on a house, really start building something together." Here's what Anthony didn't know. I'd already been building something. 7 months earlier, Chase had reached out about this investment opportunity. My ex from 5 years back, the one Anthony thought I'd completely cut contact with. Chase had found this new development by the waterfront condos selling at pre-construction prices that were guaranteed to flip for serious profit within a year. The setup was brilliant. We'd go in together on a unit, split the ownership, 50-50 use a private lender for the down payment, then sell once the market caught up to the location. The only catch was the balloon payment structure. We had to pay back the full $120,000 in one lump sum after 12 months. Chase handled all the paperwork, got us connected with this private equity group that specialized in short-term real estate lending. I'd been managing the monthly interest payments for months, telling Chase I'd figure out the balloon payment when the time came. The timing was tight. The payment was due about a month after Anthony and I were supposed to get married. But then his grandfather died, and suddenly I had the solution sitting right in front of me. Look, I know how this sounds, but we were getting married. His money was going to become our money anyway, right? And this investment would set us both up. Chase had shown me the market analysis. Similar units in the area were already selling for $50,000 more than what we'd paid. This wasn't some scheme to steal from Anthony. This was me securing our financial future. The problem was Anthony's weird control issues around money. He's one of those people who needs to understand every transaction, see every piece of paperwork, probably would have insisted on restructuring the whole deal to get his name on the title. It would have complicated everything Chase and I had already set up. Plus, the lender relationship was already established. Changing ownership structures at this point would mean renegotiating terms, possibly losing the deal entirely. It made more sense to handle the balloon payment quietly and then surprise Anthony with our new asset after the wedding. A nice little, "Hey, look what I invested in for us" reveal once we were legally married, and it was too late for him to overthink it. I spent weeks planning how to approach it. The debt story seemed like the cleanest option, something that would explain exactly why I needed that specific amount, something that would make him want to help without asking too many questions. Anthony's one of those guys who gets off on being the hero. He wants to swoop in and save the day, especially when it comes to me. So I worked out all the emotional beats, the shame, the fear, the way I'd present it as this terrible burden I'd been carrying alone. I practiced the conversation in my head until I had every pause and tear timed perfectly. 3 nights before everything fell apart, I finally did it. I waited until he was relaxed, sitting on his couch in those ridiculous plaid pajama pants he thinks are comfortable. I'd made dinner, opened a bottle of wine, set the whole scene. "Anthony," I started letting my voice shake just a little. "I need to tell you something, and I'm so ashamed I don't even know how to say it." He immediately went into concerned boyfriend mode, putting down his wine, giving me his full attention. "What's wrong? You can tell me anything." "I have debt. A lot of debt from before I met you. It's been haunting me." The concern on his face deepened. "Like credit card debt?" How much are we talking about? It's $120,000. I watched him process that number. His expression didn't change much, but I could see him doing mental calculations. From what? He asked carefully. Bad investments. I helped someone who bailed on me and I got stuck holding the bag. It's a private loan and the interest is crushing me. I've been managing the payments, but I let the tears start. I can't bring this into our marriage. It'll destroy us, but then your inheritance, it felt like a sign, like maybe we could start fresh. Anthony was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached over and took my hand. Of course we'll handle it together, he said. We're a team. We'll pay it off. The relief I felt was immediate and genuine. He'd bought it completely, but then he kept talking. I'll need to coordinate with my financial advisor. He's managing the inheritance and he'll want to see the loan paperwork, the agreement, payoff statement, all that. Just standard procedure so we can wire the money and close it out properly. I felt something cold settle in my stomach, but I kept my expression grateful. Oh, it's not like a regular bank loan. It's private and it's really embarrassing. Can't you just transfer me the money and I'll handle it? No, Anthony said, and I could hear something different in his voice. My advisor actually recommended getting a forensic accountant involved just to do a full audit of our combined finances before we legally merge everything. Smart planning, right? So we start fresh, like you said. That cold feeling spread. A forensic accountant that seems thorough, or just being responsible, he said with that smile that used to seem sweet but now felt calculating. I'll have the accountant reach out to you for the information. It'll be totally professional. I had to agree. Saying no would have looked suspicious. Sure, that makes sense. But the way Anthony was looking at me, I knew something had shifted. Like he was seeing me differently, studying me in a way that made my skin crawl. The next morning, he was already on the phone with someone when I came out of the shower. I heard him say something about independent audit and mystery debt before he noticed me and wrapped up the call. Just getting everything set up, he said cheerfully. Mr. Karras will be in touch with you today. Mr. Karras, even the name sounded ominous. I spent the day trying to figure out how to handle this. The forensic accountant was going to find the loan, obviously. But maybe I could spin it, make it seem like the condo investment was something I'd gotten trapped in, not something I'd chosen. Play up the victim angle. When Mr. Karras called, his voice was crisp and professional. Ms. Shelby, I'll need all documentation related to your debt. Loan agreements, payment history, correspondence with the lender. I can meet with you tomorrow if that works. Actually, I said, could we maybe handle this over email? I'm pretty busy this week. I prefer in-person meetings for this type of review. Shall we say 10 a.m.? I couldn't think of a way to refuse without seeming evasive. The meeting was in this sterile office building downtown. Mr. Karras was exactly what I'd expected. Sharp, suit-cold eyes, the kind of man who probably enjoyed destroying people's lives for a living. I'd brought copies of the loan documents hoping I could control the narrative. Interesting structure, he said, flipping through the paperwork. Hard money loan with a balloon payment. And the funds went directly into escrow for a real estate purchase. My stomach dropped. Yes, it was an investment that went wrong. I see. And the property is titled to you and... He checked another document. Chase Morrison, your business partner, K. The way he said business partner made it clear he knew exactly who Chase was. It's complicated, I said weakly. I'm sure it is. I'll need to do a full title search and payment history review. Should have my report ready for Mr. Anthony by early next week. I left that meeting knowing I was screwed, but I still thought maybe I could control the damage. Explain it to Anthony before the report came back, make him understand that this was all for us. I never got the chance. Anthony came home a week later with a manila folder in his hand and an expression I'd never seen before. Not angry, not hurt, empty. He set the folder on the coffee table and opened it without saying a word. Inside were copies of everything. The loan agreement, the title search, showing Chase's name next to mine bank records, showing the payment timeline. Who is Chase? He asked quietly. I felt like I was falling. I can explain, it's not what it looks like. Explain how you accidentally co-own a $600,000 condo with your ex-boyfriend. explain how your mystery debt is actually a loan you were planning to pay off with my dead grandfather's money after we got married. The coldness in his voice was terrifying. I'd never heard Anthony talk like that. It's an investment, I said, hearing how pathetic I sounded. It's for us, for our future. Anthony actually laughed, this horrible, bitter sound. Our future? I don't see my name on this title. I was going to add you after we were married, after the loan was paid off. You promised you'd pay it. You said we were a team. You promised you'd tell me the truth. You tried to steal $120,000 from me. It's not stealing if it's for both of us. God, you're so paranoid about everything. This is exactly why I couldn't tell you up front. I knew you'd overreact like this. The look he gave me then, it was like watching someone I'd known for 4 years become a complete stranger. Pack your things, he said. You have an hour. You can't just kick me out. We have a wedding planned. My dress, the deposits, my mother is going to lose her mind. The wedding is off. I'm not marrying a con artist. I started screaming, then throwing things, telling him he was ruining everything over a misunderstanding. But he just stood there watching me fall apart with those dead eyes. I called my mother from the car, sobbing into the phone about how Anthony had lost his mind, how he was destroying our life over a business investment. She was furious, started making plans to come over and talk sense into him. But it was too late. By the time I'd found a hotel room, Anthony had already sent out a mass email to our entire wedding guest list. Wedding canceled. Fiancé found to be in long-term financial partnership with ex-boyfriend. All deposits forfeited. The humiliation was unbearable. 200 people knowing that Anthony had dumped me, that our perfect wedding was off, that I'd somehow screwed up the best relationship I'd ever had. My mother showed up at Anthony's condo the next day, pounding on his door until he answered. I could hear her shrieking from the parking lot where I was waiting in the car. You have ruined my daughter. You embarrassed our entire family. Shelby was bringing an asset to this marriage, and you're punishing her for being smart. Anthony's response was calm and cutting. Your daughter lied to me and conspired with her ex to steal money from my inheritance. I'm not paying for her condo with another man. When Mom got back to the car, she was red-faced and furious. That ungrateful bastard, after everything you've done for him? But the worst part was still coming. Chase, who'd been radio silent through all of this, finally reached out. Not with support or apologies, but with demands. Look, Shelby's really put us in a bad spot here, he texted. The balloon payment is due in 3 weeks and now we don't have the money. You need to fix this. Get Anthony to pay what he promised. The entitlement was staggering, like this was somehow Anthony's fault for not letting himself get robbed. When I didn't respond, Chase escalated. Don't be a psycho about this. It was just business. Get us the $120,000 or we're all screwed. That's when my mother suggested the lawsuit. He made you a promise, she said. He committed to paying that debt. You have witnesses. I heard him say it myself. Make him honor his word. The lawyer we hired was confident at first. Breach of promise, fraudulent inducement, emotional distress. We were asking for the $120,000 plus $30,000 for the wedding deposits that Anthony had paid for. But then Anthony's lawyer responded and everything fell apart. The response was brutal. They had Mr. Karras's full report evidence of the condo purchase proof of my relationship with Chase. They weren't just defending, they were attacking, countersuing for the wedding deposits, the forensic accounting fee, everything. Your client opened the door by filing suit, Anthony's lawyer wrote. She's admitted in legal documents that she believes Mr. Anthony is responsible for her debt. We have evidence proving this was a conspiracy to commit fraud. My lawyer fired me as a client 2 days later, said I'd lied to him about the nature of the debt, that he wouldn't represent me, knowing I'd tried to defraud Anthony. The balloon payment came due last week. Chase and I couldn't pay, obviously. The private lender didn't send polite reminder letters. They immediately started foreclosure proceedings. I called Anthony, sobbing, begging him to help. They're taking the condo, everything we worked for. You have to help me. This is your fault. You backed out. You tried to steal from me, Shelby. You lied for 7 months. This is what consequences look like. The foreclosure auction was brutal. Because of the market conditions and the rushed timeline, the condo sold for barely enough to cover the loan plus penalties. Chase and I lost our entire investment. $120,000 gone. Chase disappeared after that. Blocked my number, moved out of his apartment, left me to deal with the legal aftermath alone. Anthony's countersuit went through unopposed. I couldn't afford another lawyer, couldn't figure out how to respond properly. The court awarded him $50,000. The wedding deposits, the accounting fees, everything. I had to declare bankruptcy. My credit is destroyed. I'm living with my mother again at 31, sleeping in my childhood bedroom, working retail to pay for basic expenses. The bankruptcy wiped out the judgment I owed Anthony, but it also wiped out everything else. My car got repossessed. My credit cards were canceled. I can't rent an apartment, can't get approved for anything. And Anthony? He kept his inheritance, dodged the biggest financial bullet of his life, and apparently learned some valuable lessons about trusting people. Last I heard through mutual friends, he was doing great. Traveling, focusing on his career, probably grateful he found out who I really was before we got legally married. I still think about that condo sometimes. If the market had held, if the timing had been different, if Anthony had just trusted me, we could have made serious money. Instead, I lost everything trying to secure our future. Maybe I should have been upfront from the beginning. Maybe I should have found a way to include him in the investment properly. But the way he reacted, the way he immediately assumed the worst about me, that tells you everything you need to know about who he really was underneath all that team talk. Some people just can't handle a partner who thinks bigger than they do. Anthony wanted safe, predictable, boring. I was trying to build something extraordinary for us, and he destroyed it all because he couldn't see past his own insecurities. But fine, he won. He got to keep his precious inheritance and his perfect reputation while I lost everything. I hope it was worth it.